Has Apple abandoned the pro market, something they used to cater to so much with their computers? Now are they more focused on the everyday consumer? Are they more focused on smartphones, iPads, Apple Watches? Now the pro market they're just abandoning? Maybe so, and a lot of you are probably not even watching this and just commenting yes. Either way, I think this deserves a whole video analysis because a lot of people are talking about it. So let's dive in. Before we get too far into this video, I want to remind everyone I am not here right now. I have not taken a vacation since I first moved out of the attic. That lasted more than a day, and I know we just hit 100,000 and it's a big milestone for us, but I definitely am getting kind of teched out a little bit, like getting overwhelmed with the amount of content we're making at the same time. And believe me, once I get back from my vacation, we are going to go full throttle on all the other channels. My editor Xander is coming on full time, so there will be a lot more content, and this is a previously recorded video. And I just want you guys to know that because if there's new news dropping or if there's new leaks dropping, these were made in advance, so I can't really talk about them here on YouTube. But as soon as I get back, I'll definitely get on that if something big happens. But anyway, let's get back to our main point. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd remind you. We've seen a lot of controversy with the iMac Pro, between it not being upgradable or people taking it apart and Apple not being able to service it very well, especially with the Snazzy Labs situation, which I could not feel in more agreement with Snazzy on. If Apple sells that VESA mount adapter, it shouldn't break every time you try to use it as advertised. So a lot of people right now are feeling like Apple does not care about the pro market anymore and they're just abandoning it. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with you on this one. I know, it's biased Apple sheep, right? But you did click on this video, you know what you're getting into. My point about people saying that Apple has abandoned the pro market is that most tech companies as a whole have really started abandoning the pro market, and I think Apple is really the only one that still has a foot in the door. Is Apple catering completely to pro users? Absolutely not. They are completely moving on to iOS devices, and that's where all their focus is going for sure, but I think more other companies have abandoned the pro market more than Apple has. Apple at least is trying. They're not doing a great job, and they definitely could be doing a lot better. I won't disagree with you there. I think the iMac Pro should have the option to just come with the VESA mount adapter or have a bit more service technicians on it or customer support representatives that understand what it is. Because right now, it's very low staffed and low supported, but with other giant tech companies right now, you're not going to see anything that rivals it. Let's look at some of the other ones we talk about when we're talking about phones or computers. The big ones that come to mind for me are Google and Microsoft. Google, I think, is a funny example because they literally have nothing in the pro market. You know, they have their Pixel line and they've got their smart speakers, but in terms of like professional grade computers, what do they make? I mean, their most expensive laptop is like $1,700 and it's Google Chrome with a keyboard attached. That's not for video editing. That's not for professionals. That's not for anything fancy. That's just, I need to access Google Drive. This is an aluminum laptop, therefore it is a good laptop. They make little Chrome boxes, which are just basically Mac Minis, except they're running Chrome OS, so Mac Minis that are even more useless. Google has like no foot in the door with the pro market if you're talking about audio professionals or video professionals. Google doesn't really have anything for them other than cloud storage, but that's really an everyday thing. Everyone has access to that. Let's move on to Microsoft though, right? They have a lot more leeway to the pro market. They've definitely tried to justify Windows 10 with the Surface line. That's how I see them, and while I think they're impressive, I don't think they're the best devices out there, having used a Surface Book, a Surface Laptop, and the Surface Pro. I've tried all these things, and they all seem to be justifying their core idea that computers should be keyboard and mouse, but also have a touch interface. So with the Surface Pro, you can attach a keyboard and mouse and basically turn it into a laptop with a broken hinge. And with the Surface Book, you can pay top dollar for something that once you detach it, loses a bunch of its graphical performance. Literally have a 15-inch tablet with the Surface Book 2, starting at just $2,500, especially rocking that bendy straw design at the middle. And while a lot of you may hate the MacBook Pro lineup, back when I was using my MacBook Pro and running my entire business on it, I was able to do more with that MacBook Pro than that Surface Pro would be able to handle itself, because both the Surface Book and the Surface Laptop, they like trying to keep ports fairly minimal actually, especially for Windows devices. You'd think they'd have more ports. They're just like, we have a traditional USB port, so we're good. And while a lot of you may like that, and I understand why you may like that, having 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports on your MacBook Pro is really, really powerful. That means back in the day, I was able to support 2 monitors at the same time, editing on one, watching a video on the other, while also playing content or reading something on the laptop screen itself, simultaneously plugging in a Thunderbolt 3 enabled external hard drive so that files transfer very quickly. They're going back and forth at really fast rates. And then I also have a 4th USB-C port that allows for all of this to be charging simultaneously. No, I did not need to buy $200 worth of adapters. I bought one adapter that had all the old ports from the old laptops, including a couple extra that even the 2015 MacBook Pro didn't have. Didn't even cost $50. And I could even connect my MacBook via Ethernet with that adapter. So I'm looking at 3 monitors at the same time. I've got an external hard drive, Thunderbolt 3 supported, and I'm charging. And with those extra USB ports I got with that adapter, I can plug in a Qi charger. I can plug in a phone charger or an iPad charger, all doing this at the same time thanks to those 4 very capable ports. While you may look at the Surface laptop and go, ha, that one's got the USB port, that's the one I like, it is a single purpose port. That port can pretty much do one thing, whereas these USB-C ports can do a whole different array of tasks. Each one of those ports can do anything the previous generation MacBook Pros could do. With the Surface line, I've always found that kind of limiting. They're like, nah, you can plug in one extra monitor if you want, then the Thunderbolt port's gone. That's it, that's all there is. Oh, you want to have more? Then pay for our $200 Surface dock. Yeah, because Apple's dongles are expensive, right? Microsoft laptops oftentimes cost more than Apple's. Besides, the budget iPad is way cheaper than a Surface Pro anyway. Then you've got your Surface Studio, which is, when I'm thinking about the iMac Pro and all the complaints around this Pro class all-in-one desktop, this is really the only competitor I can think of, because the only other thing people like to bring up is, well, you can go iMac Pro or you can go custom built or get a PC ordered from some company that builds them professionally. But that's really not the same thing as an iMac Pro, right? Apple's even working on the modular Mac Pro right now. If you want to talk about abandoning the Pro market, they're currently trying to work on a Mac that you can upgrade yourself that's more modular and is built for Pro users. I'm not hearing about these leaks from Google or Microsoft right now. The Surface Studio, when I asked a lot of PC guys about it, have mentioned it's got a lot of mobile hardware in that little dock. Not the best CPU, not the best GPU, especially for the price. And what you're really paying for with that Surface Studio is that rotating dock and that giant touchscreen. And remember how everyone was complaining that, oh, the iMac Pro is terrible because you can't mount it with a VESA adapter? What are you gonna do with that Surface Studio if you want to mount it with a VESA adapter? All the components are in the bottom. Can you mount that base onto the wall? I haven't seen many accessories for it, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Surface Studio, which is that you're supposed to be able to bend it down and then draw on it horizontally. So while Apple may be bad at VESA mounts for the iMac Pro, in terms of all-in-one designs, in terms of non-PC like tower-based desktops, are there many other all-in-ones that HP or Lenovo are making that can rival that of an iMac Pro? Not that I've seen, or if there is, not that many people are talking about it. The idea of having a one device that you unbox and plug in and it starts working, there's no manufacturing required, there's no putting it together required, there's no setting up cables on the back, plugging in DisplayPort to DisplayPort and HDMI. The idea that there are professionals out there that don't want to waste their time with all that kind of stuff, and I'm not trying to hate on people that like building PCs or like having towers that plug into monitors and stuff like that. Even Apple doesn't hate on you for that. They're trying to make a computer like that. But there are certain customers out there who are not interested in that sort of thing, who are not interested in doing all of the setup of a computer themselves. They just want to buy it, plug it in, and it starts working. The iMac Pro is pretty much unmatched in that side of the Pro market. The idea that I don't really have time to set up a bunch of computer stuff. I'm a video editor, I'm an audio engineer, and I just want it to plug in and start working, and I want it to work well. I want the speakers to be good. I want the fans to be quiet. I want a great display. All of those things, while it is very expensive with the iMac Pro, it is kind of unrivaled. It is kind of in its own category, and there's not some other all-in-one that can really compete with the hardware offered and the ports offered. Man, I love every single port they gave us with the iMac Pro, with the exception of maybe the headphone jack, but whatever, that doesn't take up much space in this. I still get my 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, so I could theoretically hook up 4 4K external monitors and still be running my 5K monitor at the same time. I've had a lot of talks with people about how custom-built PCs, finding one that would be able to do that is very difficult. Not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying for this price range, finding a PC that could support a native 5K display alongside 4 external 4K displays at 60 Hz for multitaskers and people who like having multiple monitors, that's going to be harder to find elsewhere. And comparing the prices of custom-built PCs to what the iMac Pro is worth, you find out that the iMac Pro is pretty fairly priced. Even if you ask people like Linus Tech Tips. He's not happy with it because he can't take it apart and get it fixed, but you know my thoughts on that. If it's an all-in-one, why are you taking it apart? That's not the point. Regardless, as much as you may think that Apple is abandoning the Pro market, I still see a lot of efforts to be different, a lot of efforts to appeal to a market that's not getting much attention. And the industry as a whole is kind of abandoning the Pro market because that's not where all the money is made. But I still think that Apple has a leg in the door a lot further than anyone else does. I don't really see Microsoft making super highly advanced all-in-one designs that can rival that of the iMac Pro. They got one Thunderbolt 2 port on the back of the Surface Studio, and the specs for the price are not that great. The only really competition the iMac Pro has is a different product line entirely, which is custom built and towers, and that's really not the same type of product. That's a different genre. Apple sees it as a different genre, so why do we compare the two? Google's not really doing anything. Samsung, I don't really see any entrance with the Pro market. There's probably some smaller companies that are dedicated to building PCs on their own, but again, they're not appealing to the Pro market the same way Apple is appealing to the Pro market. So are they great at servicing the Pro devices? No. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and they're not great at a lot of the things they do with the Pro market. However, have they abandoned it? No. I still think they're working hard on it. I still think there are people trying to suffice what professionals need in everyday workforce, and at least for people like me, I've been very satisfied. I loved my MacBook Pro. I've been loving my iMac Pro and our newly bought iMac. They have all been great, and I do realize there's not really another company I could go to that could rival this experience of being able to airdrop between the two, shoot a bunch of stuff on my phone, and send it to my iMac, have Final Cut Pro, such an optimized program on there that you're never going to get a similar experience with on Windows 10. Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, while there may be other editing platforms out there, they're not going to be as fast at exporting or as optimized as Final Cut Pro is on all of these things. You can edit 4K video on a 12-inch MacBook thanks to Final Cut Pro optimization. You may disagree with the style that they're catering to the Pro market on. You don't think they're doing it right, but the statement that they're not trying to do it at all, I think is false. But of course, if you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. But before I go, while the HomePod giveaway will be announced next month, I don't want the Patreon donors out there to forget that we're still doing a giveaway as soon as I get back from vacation. This white Nike 42mm watch band. A lot of people seemed interested in the watch band giveaway last month, so this is a watch band that I really like, but I'm not wearing as much. So I thought, why not give it to you? So all you have to do is donate on Patreon, no matter how much it is. It could be $1, $5, $10. You can check out all the perks there. Links are in the description, but no matter how much you donate, you're already eligible to win this watch band, which I will mail out to one of you. And I guess July is going to be giveaway month. We're getting a HomePod, and someone else will be getting one of these if you are a Patreon donor. So please check it out. It's a $50 value. It's directly from Apple, and it belongs to the verified checkmark Tailosive Tech. Isn't that something? It's fancy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all have an excellent day. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.